Hello, day 8. And today we're moving into a new phase of the mindset program. And I'm really excited about this week because the work we're going to do over the next few days can be so powerful. Because this next 7 days is all about reclaiming your power, reclaiming your confidence and your voice, and that sense of who you actually are underneath all the layers of where those expectations have created your own internal narrative and what you believe to be true about yourself. Because if we're really honest, when we start to think about this, when we start to really become self-aware, most of us end up carrying around stories about ourselves that were never consciously chosen. They form gradually over years and years. Maybe there was a comment from a teacher when we were young, or maybe there was something a parent said that was just in frustration that affected us more than they ever intended. Or maybe there was a relationship where someone else's opinion, an ex, slowly became louder than your own. Or maybe there's experiences at work that have knocked your confidence. And over time, those things start shaping the way we speak to ourselves. I certainly had this. I was bullied through my school years. And then I carried on just bullying myself, that inner narrative that I was never any good, that I didn't deserve friends, that I didn't deserve to be chosen. And that internal story forms way back then, and then it becomes continuous as we live our lives. It just sits there in the background on default. You're not even thinking about it. I'm not great at that, or this always happens to me, or I probably won't be able to do that. I'm not as good as them. But the amazing thing about our inner story is that it doesn't just sit there as this collection of thoughts. It actually shapes how your body feels, and it shapes how confident you feel in the future, in the present. It shapes how much power you believe you have in your own life. And that is why this week we're going to rewrite that narrative. But before we go straight into confidence and power and identity, I wanted to start somewhere really important that we have been going through over these past 7 days, and that is calm. So reclaiming your calm. I want to start there and really pull together everything that we've gone through over these last 7 days. Now, one way about reclaiming your calm, and I've been talking about this, and the most powerful way is language. The words that you say to yourself. Now, this really fascinates me because once you start noticing it, you realize how powerful you are. This is everything that I do in my hypnotherapy and coaching practice, NLP, positive psychology. It all comes down to language. Your nervous system is listening to the language you use all the time. For example, if I said to you now, "Don't get stressed," and I said it in that tone, already, do you feel yourself bracing? But if I said to you, "Oh, this is going to be really calming now," what is the difference there? Your mind knows the word stress, your mind knows the word calm, and the tone that you use and the words that you use, they're very deliberate. This is all my training in NLP, all my training in hypnotherapy, years of training. It's the language that you use and the way you use them is very, very considered, and it is very intentional. So notice how powerful you can be from listening to certain words that you tell yourself, but also the words that you listen to from other people, how powerful that is in changing things for you. The subconscious takes language really seriously, very seriously. It responds to the tone of words, the imagery in words, the repetition of words, which means the way you speak to yourself and the words you hear from those around you is never neutral. It's either creating tension or it's helping settle your system, your nervous system. If I said now, "Oh, this is too much," just notice your body when you hear those words internally. For most people, it's an immediate physical response. Maybe your chest tightens or the shoulders lift a little. But if you say, "Oh, this is going to be enjoyable. I'm going to experience calm," that is different language, and you often notice something different in your body. Your nervous system responds to the words you use. And there is so much research around this. I'm fascinated by this. In hospitals, there's been studies showing that patients who are given encouraging language and positive expectations about recovery, that's really important, they recover faster or experience less pain than patients who are given neutral or uncertain information. Now, you may have heard this described as a placebo effect. And that might make it sound less powerful than it really is. But what those studies really show is how strongly expectation and belief influence your state. If you expect to heal, the body behaves differently. And something similar happens when people speak kindly or encouraging to their own bodies. There's studies in sports psychology where athletes who use compassionate self-talk during physical exercise, they recover faster than those athletes who criticize themselves. So language influences our physiology. It's amazing. And this is something I found so empowering because it means we're not as powerless as sometimes we think. So this is what I want you to understand today. You are so powerful. We can influence our nervous system in the middle of everyday life simply through the way we speak to ourselves. And that is how we make a difference to our confidence, our self-worth, and our self-belief as well. Now, another person who is so influential in this area is David Hamilton. David Hamilton, he used to work in pharmaceutical research before moving into studying the connection between the mind and the body. And one of the ideas he talks about, which I absolutely love, is that the opposite of stress isn't relaxation. The opposite of stress is kindness. Kindness changes chemistry in the body. When we experience kindness, even when we offer kindness to ourselves, the brain releases oxytocin, which helps regulate the nervous system and reduce stress. And that kindness includes the language we use with ourselves, the tone of the voice in our head. And I'm actually going to see David Hamilton later this month, which I'm so excited about because I love the way he explains these connections between science and compassion in such a grounded way. And what I've learned both from his work and from years of working with clients on this is when the language inside your mind becomes kinder, your nervous system begins to settle. And when your nervous system settles, something else becomes possible. Calm and confidence and the ability to start rewriting the story you carry about yourself, which is exactly where we're heading this week. Because reclaiming your power begins with reclaiming your story, not the story that other people have written about you, the one you choose. But that story is much more effective when your system feels calm enough to hear it. So today is about beginning that shift, speaking to yourself in ways that steady the system rather than alarm it. And to help you experience this more deeply, I've created something extra for you. I've created another audio, a guided nervous system reset meditation, so you can listen to that as well. You've got 15-20 minutes. I've designed to let you experience exactly what we've been talking about today, how language, breath and suggestion help your body move from stress back into calm. And you can listen to it today or this evening or whenever your nervous system needs a reset. Think of it as giving your body a reminder that calm is available. Because once calm returns, we start reclaiming something really powerful, your confidence, your voice, your own story. And so that all begins over these next few days. But for now, speak to yourself kindly today and enjoy the guided meditation.